The man is there.
There's the man.
Oh
Look
my!
at that. Look at that.
There he is.
The
What
sexiest
is going on?
sexiest man in the room has just arrived. Look at that.
What is shaking rockers?
Bonjour, Mr. Zakk. How are
What
you?
are you doing, man?
Good. Surviving the
What is
pandemic.
shaking? Good to see you, fellas.
You
Good to see you
too.
too. Well, let's get right into it. Brand new album, Doom Crew Inc., coming out November 26th. Available pre-order now wherever music is sold. Going to be hitting the road starting October 1st with dates in Philly and Sacramento and everywhere, all over the place. Hopefully we get to catch him on the road. Welcome to the show, Mr. Zakk Wylde. There he is. Everybody.
What is happening, fellas? What's going on over there, man?
What's up? First of all, I wanna just start off right off the bat because Mitch and I were joking about this. You're one of my favorite guitar players of all time. My first real guitar amp was your Marshall Mini Baby Stack that you put out.
Do you still have it?
No, I sold it like a couple of years ago to my buddy because he was getting into guitar, but now I regret it because I see what they sell for, and I'm like, fuck, that was stupid.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, I had the overdrive pedal, I had the signature wah. Like, I was a big Eddie Van Halen fan, but for some reason I gravitated towards the Zakk Wylde stuff. So you were like, your guitar gear was the first real guitar gear I ever had.
I did, because you had to settle. That's why. But then you move, you upgrade. You know what I'm saying?
You eventually upgrade.
I tell Mom that all the time. She's settled. You know what I mean? But I just keep, I keep giving her glue and paint chips, and she has no idea where she's at, who she's with, or what's going on. So
Yeah.
we're in the dark. But I mean, no, that's cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah, so I was telling Mitch, I was like, yeah, man, I used to have all this stuff, so this is really cool. Talk about guitar a little bit. Are you still do you still love playing guitar?
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. You know what I mean? So it just, I like you said, I mean, like with the new record and everything like that, I look forward to it. It's almost kind of like the beginning of another season. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, whether we were playing, whether we just won the Super Bowl, we made it, we were that close, we made it to the playoffs, or we had a really good season, or it was the worst season we ever had. I'm just saying, whether it's baseball or football, I'm just saying, like, it's a fresh season. You're going it, so I mean, that's the way I approach it all the time. So I mean, and as far as us, right, as far as like the new record or whatever, it's no different than us going out trying to, if we're looking for dinosaur bones, and we know in this area out here there's a batch of them, so we just gotta, they're in this area, so we just gotta dig and see what we can find out here. So you never know what you're going to get. So, I mean, that's the whole fun thing of going in and doing another record. So you don't know where it's going to go, where we're going to head, or, what it's like, oh, cool, got a cool riff here today, or whatever,
And I guess that keeps it fresh too, because, like you said, it's almost like an archaeological dig. Like, you never know where you're going to find when you grab the guitar and start noodling around and stuff. And maybe,
like Oz told me, like, with Sabbath, he said the thing with Tony, we'd always, like, after each record.
By the way,
it was
I do
almost
have an Ozzy shirt for you today.
There you go, the boss. So I mean, it was just Oz said it would almost kind of be like, it was kind of like a running joke with them. It was kind of funny, like, to see if Tony could top what his bench press was on the last album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, like, first if it was NIB, then the next record it's War Pigs, then the next album, it's Into the Void, and the next album it's Snowblind and Under the Sun, and then, like, the next album it's Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Like, Ozzy said, like, Ozzy said it was pretty mind-blowing. Just like each record, there was like another breakthrough. You know what I mean? Or he's beating his last bench press every time.
And the crazy thing about it, like, at the time, like, every time he did come up with something new, like, it was completely fresh because you'd never heard something like that before.
No, totally. You know what I mean? But it's just, but like you said, though, with every band that you've ever loved, I mean, whether it's Elton John, the Beatles, the Stones, Sabbath, or Zeppelin, or what, like, all the bands we love, it always just comes down to the songs that are on the record. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether it's an Al Di Meola record or a Mahavishnu record. It's the songs that are on the record. We know there's blazing guitar and there's shredding stuff all over, but I mean, it always comes down to the songs that are on the record, no matter what band it is or what genre of music.
Let's talk a little bit about these songs, because the beginning of the album brings me back, when I hear it, to what Black Sabbath does. It has that kind of sound, but then you get down to Love Rain Down, and you're like, ah, Book of Shadows. And you haven't really blended that kind of stuff on albums before. I find this album to be very complete, and it sort of encapsulates your entire career and all the different sounds you've made. Talk to me about sort of having that balance in the sounds and in the album.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, we've always had the mellow stuff on the records, you know, whether we were doing In This River,
True.
was on the Mafia, right? I mean, but like the first Black Label song I ever wrote was Spoken the Wheel, you know, the mellow stuff. So, uh, you know, no, I mean, there's always been mellow songs on the record. So, I mean, it's always, you know, I'm just saying, like with Ozzy, you got Mama, I'm Coming Home, and then we got No More Tears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Oz, you know, you always had, with Ozzy, you always had, you know, whether you had I Don't Know on that record was Goodbye to Romance, you know, so there was always, you got the heavy stuff and the mellow stuff. So, you know, I mean, that's just, to me, it just goes hand in hand.
Right.
It does. In June, we celebrated, I think it's 27 years since the Pride and Glory album. And I post on my socials all the time, on this day, this happened, on this day, this happened. And I put up on this day, you know, June 7th, Pride and Glory comes out. And the fan reaction was completely off the hook. People are just like, I love this album. I love what Zakk did. I wish he would do it again. Just quickly take a moment to remember that album. And is there a chance that we might see a resurrection of Pride and Glory?
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, we could always, you know, depends on when I fit it in between, you know, I'm just saying between the Black Label playing with the Boss, Zach Sabbath, Experience Hendrix, Generation X, cleaning the dog run, doing the dishes, then maybe we throw a Pride and Glory record in there. So I'm just saying,
you got too much shit going on.
No, but it's definitely doable. I mean, with the, you know, why not? I mean, I'm just saying, because it's, to me, it's all music. So, you know, and I love doing it, all of it. So, I mean, no, it could definitely be done for sure, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, why not, right? I mean, in 2021, it's like fans are just so thirsty for everything and anything, and they just want to get their hands on whatever they can. So it's like, why not just give it to them, you know?
Yeah, why not? It's all good. I mean, it's, you know, you're doing what you love. So to me, it's all good.
Yeah. Hey, talking about this year, No More Tears is celebrating its 30th anniversary, I think. They're putting out a big box set and stuff, remastering. Do you have any like cool stories about those recording sessions back in the early 90s and writing some of those iconic solos? And
oh, we had a blast making that record. I mean, we had a blast making No Rest for the Wicked too. I mean, I you know, there's not any time making any of those Ozzy records I didn't have a good time. I mean, every record we've done, I mean, first off, you're doing what you love, and then you're around people you like hanging out with. So
yeah,
I mean, it's all win-win. But no, I mean, when we did No Rest for the Wicked, I mean, it was a bit more, it was more relaxed now, because it, you know, No More Tears was kind of like, I mean, No Rest for the Wicked was like, you know, it's my first album with Ozzy, and everyone's curious to see what I'm going to sound like and everything like that. And it's just like, what's, you know, so whereas No More Tears is just more of a, definitely more of a relaxed atmosphere, you know what I mean? But then, you know, like other songs were coming in, like, you know, Road to Nowhere, then the Mama, I'm Coming Homes and stuff like that. So, you know, and obviously, you know, my love for Almonds and Skinner and stuff like that, you know, with as far as the chicken picking stuff goes, for like, I Don't Want to Change the World, you know, the solos and stuff like that. But yeah, I you know, I don't know. I mean, to me, you know, what I'm doing now on a Doom Crew Incorporated record is no different than pretty much an extension of what we were doing then. It's just, you know, I mean, with Oz, it's just more, Zachy, what do you got? You know what I mean? Like, as far as riffs go, or whatever. But I remember, you know, when we were doing the riff for I Don't Want to Change the World, I remember I was just saying, I think it was, we were talking about like how not to get a date. You know what I mean? Like, we were just like taking a thing, like certain things, like you say to a chick and you go, yeah, no wonder why I can never get a date, you know? So it was just yeah, it was just like, it would go down, chicka, down, chicka, chicka.
Then how do you write that? Is it you?
No, I just had I had the riff. I had the riff.
And
then you would come in, would say something like ridiculous, like, hey, I still live at home with my parents and I have no job. You know, and then we'd have like all this stuff, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was just like, Ozzy walked in the room, like we were on the floor crying, laughing, because I'd be doing the riff and I would, you know, we would stop and then you'd say something ridiculous and I would do the riff again, you know? And then Oz comes walking in. We were at Joe's garage at Frank Zappa's place, his rehearsal place. And I remember Oz comes in, he goes, what's that riff? keep that. We'll turn that into a song. And I mean, it was just a joke. You're doing all these ridiculous things, and we're all on the
Right.
floor crying, laughing. I'm like, you're kidding, Oz. I go, this is terrible. He's just like, no, we're gonna make that a song. Anyways, we end up making it a song, and it ends up winning a Grammy.
Yeah, like
Right.
you never thought, right? Dying on the floor, you're like, holy shit!
No,
Like,
but you gotta love Oz. I mean, like with Diary of a Madman, Randy was having a classical lesson. Ozzy smashed on the couch. He wakes up. He goes, "What is that? We'll use something like that, and we'll make it a song." And then it turns into Diary of a Madman. I mean,
Right.
I'm just saying, like, and the same thing he did with Suicide Solution. He was like, "What was that? That's awesome." Yeah. Randy's like, "This is horrendous. What are you talking about?" I don't even remember what I just played, and he goes, well, whatever it was good, and they ended up, and it becomes Suicide Solution.
Was a lot of that stuff spontaneous in the studio, and you just like it just happened out of thin air like that, or did you guys sit down for a session and like?
Yeah, without the No More Tears, I think when Mikey started that, and Randy started playing the drums almost kind of exactly like what you're hearing on the record. And then I remember I did John Sinclair came up with that keyboard, the climb, and just like on the record. And then I did the slide thing because I had the slide laying around and the line I was
Right.
almost kind of like a Freebird, Skinnerty, Allman Brothers thing because of my love for those guys. So then and then we stopped and Mike was still playing and Randy, and we were like, let's do like just sing something here, almost kind of like War Pigs, Black Dog, like where it's the vocal line, then the riff, what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Yeah, totally. So Oz, and Oz, he's like the king of the melody. I mean, pretty much every time he sings, he would sing something, it would always end up being, that would be the melody. Like there was very, very rarely did Oz ever come back and go, I'm not happy with what I'm singing there. Let me just take a break from it and let me think of something else because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Usually it was like the first thing he'd sing, and it was like, there it is.
Wow. Talking about melody, like the A section of your solo in No More Tears, I get goosebumps every time. From just that like even the guitar tone, everything about it, like it sounds so good.
It reminded me, I mean, when we were doing it, when I look back on it now, it might be like an Elton John type thing, like a funeral for a friend type thing. Because I'm a huge Elton John fan. So I mean, it was like looking back on that, and then I remember one of my buddies actually said it. Oh, it reminds me of like a funeral for a friend by Elton John. But I remember that, and then I remember I did the solo. It was like pretty much one take. Like it was like I constructed it a little bit, but but when I performed it, it was just one take. Wow. And I remember and all the guitars in that are one take. And I remember like the rest of the record, I double the guitars and everything because you want it to sound fuller and fatter and everything like that.
Huge, those guitars.
But that track though, I remember it was only one guitar, the slide and the dun 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 dun, so it was like I remember wanting to double it. And John Purdell, God bless his soul, I remember Father John was just like, no, Zach, we've doubled everything. He was just like, he did it anyways. Let's go get something to eat anyways. You know what I mean? Because it was cutting in like us going to grab a bite to eat,
Right. You're just like, get this done.
Yeah, if I would have had to double it, it was like, let's just go eat, man. So, but I remember I was like, oh man, I want to double the guitars. It was like, no, just leave it. It sounds fine, man. So, but now I listen back to it. I was just like, yeah, I'm glad we did.
Yeah. Because that guitar solo, it's like, was that a one take kind of thing? Like it just happened as you played it, or?
Oh, it's one take without a doubt. But I think I just said like, let me just come up with something. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just like a little bluesy thing and the one, and then I think I probably, then I constructed the climb going up. You know what I mean? But I think when I performed it though, it was just I did it one time, and then it was like, oh, cool, it came out good. It came out all right. So whatever, it was just like, there wasn't anything where I was like, oh, let me fix this or punch me in here or whatever, So
because I think that solo is one of the most perfect guitar solos of all time, even down to like the tone and the delays and like the effects, like everything, the processing. It's just so
I dig it, brother. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you don't hear guitar tones like that anymore, so that's why it's like you hear that on the radio or on the CD. It's like, fuck.
No, you hear it on Doom Crew, I can tell you that much. Zach, let me just quickly ask you about the work ethics. From 1999 until now, you've essentially released an album a year, almost. Talk to me about that work ethic, and do you approach the album making process the same, and therefore you can sort of just punch them out, or is every one a struggle, and yet you just go, yep, just going to put the sweat and tears, and we're going to get something pumped out?
No, I think then it was just no. I always looked forward to going in the studio. You know what I mean? So it was just because you're going in and you never know what we're going to create when you get there. So it's like Salvador Dali going in and he's got a wide open slate, and then we just give him a whole bunch of paint, and it's just like Salvador go, okay, let me come up with something. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to me, it's just awesome when we'd go in the studio and stuff like that. But I mean, the whole thing is, now that we have the Vatican,
the Black Vatican.
The Black Vatican. My wife, when I painted it black, she's like, "What are you, 12?"
You've also got the
and
toaster.
I was like, "No, I'm not 12." I go, "Don't ever insult me like that again. I'm 13. I'm a teenager now. Don't ever insult me."
I still cook with the toaster oven. Come on, leave me alone.
Exactly. I'm a man. I'm a man now. But I mean, that sort of thing is. No, like, even though that we have the studio, like, people are like, "Oh man, you must record in there all the time." I don't. You know what I mean? It's just, if I have an idea or something like that, like, let's say like a wild horses type thing or something, I'll record it on my acoustic on my phone, just so I have it. And when we're going to eventually turn it into a song, we will. I mean, I don't write any lyrics until I'm going to sing something on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like, let me come up with some lyrics for this thing.
It's always music first, then lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, always the music first, and then and then the melody, and then I'll sit in the truck and crank it and listen to it, and then start singing something over it, and then go, like, and then I'll start figuring out what I want to sing it about. Right. But yeah, that's usually the process, how it always works.
It's interesting because Jeremy and I were just talking to Kim Mitchell, and he was like, "Oh, I hate going in the studio. I hate it. I can't."
He was like, "It's a pain. Oh, making an album is such a pain in the ass." And I'm like, well, that's kind of like what everybody says, but it's like, I guess it really is what you make of it,
No, I've never felt that way. I mean, it was just like when I played sports, I loved going to practice. I loved the whole process of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of people, like, they just like playing the game. They don't like the practice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I enjoyed the whole process. Like, I enjoy, like, a lot of people, like, they like the road. They don't like the studio. A lot of people like the studio, and, like, I can't stand touring. Right. I never understood that. Yeah. I love the whole thing. You know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, like when I'm out
at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, when I'm out on the road, we're gonna roll. The three of us are gonna roll for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
With the fellas and everything. Like, we're gonna have a blast for 6 weeks. Then we're going home. Like, I've never been on the road where I was like, I can't wait to go home. I never felt like that before. Right. And we got 4 kids. I mean, I was, you always want to, now that I'm home, obviously whenever I'm home, I take a little Sabatini to school and everything like that. Like, I like doing that stuff. So. But, like, when we're on the road, you're doing what you love, man. You know what I mean? So, that's the reason why you have Led Zeppelin posters on the walls and Sabbath and all your favorite guys.
How difficult has it been to be off the road for 18 months? I mean, does it change you? Do you think, well, home's kind of great, or do you sort of go, oh, come on, like, how's that been for you?
Because people were like, man, you must be jonesing to get on the road. I was like, no, I've enjoyed I've cherished every second of being home. You know what I mean? Because I'm never home. So, like, it's like, oh, you're going to go on a vacation. This is the vacation. You know what I mean? When I'm home for 2 weeks. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, I love being home, this whole time. So it just, because I never get that opportunity, but I love, like you said, I love when we're touring. Like, we just got done doing 2 shows. I mean, like, I actually had to sit and practice standing up because I haven't played a guitar standing up for 18 months. So, like, you practice, you're sitting down, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
makes your shoulders hurting. You're like, oh God, I'm doing this for 2 hours.
I mean, I never get that. So, I mean, it's just like,
you don't want to get a throne like Dave Grohl and just sit there and shred away.
Yeah, but Dave, that's because Dave had a broken leg. You know what I mean? And I'm sure Dave was still jumping around with a broken leg. You know what I mean?
Hey, Phil Collins is sitting on a throne now, so with Genesis, so.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter when you're
big gray
take as much. Yeah. When you're slamming as Phil Collins, you can do that. You know what I mean? But no, it was just kind of funny. Just before we just did the Sturgis show, and we did did another show with the Montana chapter. So, I mean, it was a blast. It was like we were out there playing. It was like COVID never happened, and it almost felt like I'm looking at the rest of the guys. As soon as we started playing, it was like it felt like we were just at the rave in Milwaukee 2 weeks ago. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it never happened.
Mhm.
Like we were never away.
Right.
Right
It's
back.
funny, Zach. I got a stupid question for you. So I followed this like guitar page, and like an old school photo of you showed up on it, and I was like cracking up because like it looks nothing like you look like now. Like, how do you go from looking like a twink John Bon Jovi in the '80s to like looking like Hell's Angel these days?
looking like a homeless guy that Barbara Ann just let in the house. Maybe this guy needs something to eat. But no,
because like talk about reinventing your total image.
Well, no, I mean, that was the time. You know what I mean? That's what was going on. But I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of funny. I mean, because like right after, as soon as we started doing the shows, even in '88, '89, when I was playing with Ozzy, I never did my hair. You know, it was almost kind of like the poofy hair for the pictures,
Right?
The band shots and whatever guitar magazines we had to do. But I mean, it was like when we were doing live shows, I just went out there with no shirt on and my hair. You know, I never put hairspray in my hair.
Right.
No, I just went down with my hair straight and that was it. So, but no, I mean, like, and then as far as the facial hair, I remember when we did the Rockstar movie. I remember, you know, I had to wear this beard because every day for the movie I had to shave. So, but at the end of the movie, I had to do this beard thing, right? And I was just like, I remember putting this beard on. And, you know, because it was at the end of the movie, it was like, where are they now? They did it never ended up in the movie, but it was like, where are they now? And it had like the band years later where they all were and what happened, you know, when
should have left that in.
Steel Dragon broke up. And I ended up living in the mountains somewhere and like, you know, I was like a mountain man and, you know, whatever. It was like Grizzly Adams. I was hanging out with bears and stuff like that. So, but I remember, and I had a shotgun and the whole 9 yards, but it was just like, I remember having the beard going, and I was thinking to myself, man, when I get done with this movie, I'm gonna grow my beard out.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I actually test drive the whole beard thing because I had the fake one on the whole time. So
it was a movie prop that made you say, "Hey, I actually kind of
I'm gonna go for it." So pretty much, which is kind of funny because like Sabbath has never seen me without a beard. So when he sees pictures of me without it, it's kind of funny, you know. So yeah. So probably since I haven't shaved since probably 2001. 2002, something like that.
Wow. So had you
you
not
ought
done
to see
that
my back hair and my ass hair is completely out of control.
Yeah. Let's see the pubes.
It's a complete jungle there. It's a safari, bro. Barb can't even get to the important parts, bro. Maybe she doesn't wanna.
I'm going to ask you the local Montreal question. Frank Marino announced recently that he was too ill to tour and therefore has canceled everything forever. You of course met Frank. You know Frank.
Yeah, friends with Frank. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, he hasn't come out publicly.
Well, no, I'm not asking about his health. I'm just asking you for you. What does he mean as a guitarist? What was it about him as a player where you just went, yeah, that guy's good. I got to learn his stuff.
Well, obviously, you know, we're all inspired by certain things and
right.
You know, everything like that. But I mean, to me, I just always thought, I mean, you know, I mean, as far as like, I mean, I like obviously Frank, I'll be first one to tell you, he loved Jimi Hendrix and he was inspired by Hendrix and everything like that. But I mean, he was just like, you know, took the essence of, you know, of Jimmy, of the guys that you love, that you're inspired by. And it just like, Frank's just like a Formula One race car of that style of playing. I mean, it's just like, and it's not just fast playing and because it's everything he does is musical. You know, and then his grasp on bebop and like jazz lines and everything like that, you know, like the live version that they did of Red House on the on his second live album again. It was just, I mean, it's frightening, man. I mean, the guitar playing on that, the phrasing and his playing, it's just out of control. But no, I still listen to him all the time and get inspired. Every time I hear him, I get inspired. So, but yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, it's just, he really, like you said, just phenomenal technique, and his musicality is just, it's just staggering, man.
Yeah, it's one of the greats.
Well,
Truly.
Doom Crew Inc., brand new record from Black Label Society, out November 26th, available pre-order now. You get it on vinyl, you get it on the CD, you get to go stream it, but you can also buy it on cassette, apparently. You guys are doing cassettes. Everybody's doing everything old is new again.
Yes. Which is always kind of cool. You know what I mean? So like, if you weren't around to enjoy it the first time around, you know, I'm just waiting for 8-track to come back. So that's what we want.
Right.
And then 8-track and stick that in your car, man.
Oh, yeah. God. In a Camaro.
I have an old Detroit Rock 8-track laying around somewhere. I don't know where it is, though.
I have some downstairs, actually, because I actually am that old. So
one last question, Zakk, before we go. So Eddie Van Halen has the tap-in. He's got the whammy bars. To me, Zakk Wylde's, your iconic thing is the pinch harmonics. It's got to be the pinch harmonics.
I got to go with I just annoy people. And, you know, if you want to clear a room, just get me involved. And you're like, Zakk, you know, I just want to read this book and have a cup of coffee with nobody in here. Hey, don't worry. I can clear the room.
But my buddy, he was saying, he's like, dude, you know, in the classic interviews when they have the bleep and every time somebody swears, for Zakk, just use a pinch harmonic every time.
Yes, totally, man.
How did you start doing that pinch harmonic thing? Because when I think of you, that's the first thing I hear. I hear the woo.
Well, no, I remember my guitar teacher, Leroy Wright. He was just like, I asked him how like Billy Gibbons was doing like LaGrange and everything, you know what I mean? And I was just like, what is that? And he just goes, oh, they're like pinch harmonic. And he showed me, you know, it was just like, oh, how do you make that sound, you know? And then he showed me how to do on the high notes. Right. And then I just realized, you know, then just practicing them on the lower notes, I was like, oh, wow, this kind of sounds cool. So, but you know, when you double them in the studio, that's when they really come to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you ask any guitar player, I'll tell you that. You know, it's just like I was like, wow, it sounds like amazing. You know, so, but yeah, that's how. I mean, I learned it from Billy Gibbons. That's where I got the beard from Billy Gibbons as well.
You're basically ZZ Top now.
Yeah, totally. Exactly.
The one man ZZ Top.
Our next cover band in there next to Zach Sabbath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tres Hombres.
Get some shades on you. Get some shades.
No, CW Top. You know, that's what we'll change it to.
Get the spinning guitar.
Yes, exactly.
All right, Zakk. Well, brand new album. Make sure you go pre-order it now. November 26th. It's out. You've said it all. This was really great to meet you and chat with you today. I love this.
Right back at you, man.
Always a pleasure.
Always great talking to you, Father Mitch.
You too. Always a pleasure. Going back to that very first, whatchamacallit, the acoustic record. I forgot the name all of a sudden.
when we hooked up at that whorehouse in Montreal. The first time.
That was the first time.
In '89. That was great.
Yeah, it was beautiful. The Book of Shadows, one of the greatest albums ever released. I don't know if that insults you or not, but it's your best album. I love it. It's perfect. It is perfect from start to finish.
Appreciate it, my brother. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.